Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by rolling fields and lush greenery, there lived a hard-working farmer named Jacob. He had spent years tending to his land, growing crops, and caring for his livestock. Despite his hard work, he faced a problem. His land lacked a proper water source. His crops were drying up, and his cattle had little to drink. Jacob knew he had to find a solution before he lost everything. One day, Jacob learned that a wealthy but cunning businessman named Martin owned a well at the edge of the village. The well had plenty of fresh water, and Jacob thought that if he could buy it, his troubles would be over. With hope in his heart, he approached Martin and asked if he would be willing to sell the well to him. Martin, always looking for ways to profit, saw an opportunity. He pretended to be kind and agreed to sell the well to Jacob for a hefty sum of money. Jacob, desperate for water, gathered all his savings and paid Martin the amount. Relieved and excited, he went home that evening, confident that his farm was saved. The next morning, Jacob took his buckets and went to the well to draw water. As he lowered the bucket, Martin suddenly appeared and stopped him. "What do you think you're doing?" Martin asked with a smirk. "I bought this well from you," Jacob replied, confused. "I'm here to collect water for my farm?" Martin chuckled. "Oh, Jacob, you bought the well, not the water inside it. The water still belongs to me. If you want to use it, you'll have to pay me every time you draw water." Jacob was stunned. He had spent all his savings on the well and had nothing left to pay Martin. Realizing he had been tricked, he felt helpless and frustrated. But Jacob was not a man to be easily defeated. He decided to seek justice. Jacob took the matter to the village elders, who were wise and respected. He presented his case, explaining how Martin had deceived him. The elders listened carefully and then summoned Martin to explain his side of the story. Martin arrived, confident as ever. "It's simple," he said. "I sold him the well, but the water inside was never part of the deal. If he wants to use it, he must pay." The head elder stroked his beard thoughtfully and then spoke. "Martin, you claim that you own the water, but the well belongs to Jacob now. If the water inside does not belong to him, then you must remove it immediately." Martin's face turned pale. He realized he had been outwitted. It was impossible to remove the water from the well without destroying it. If he insisted on keeping the water, he would have to admit that Jacob had rightful access to it. Defeated and humiliated, Martin had no choice but to allow Jacob to use the well freely. Jacob smiled in relief and gratitude. He had stood up for himself and won. From that day on, he ensured that his farm thrived, and he never let greed or dishonesty go unchallenged. As for Martin, he learned a valuable lesson. Deception and greed would always lead to downfall. And so justice prevailed in the little village, and the story of the wise farmer and the cunning businessman was told for generations, reminding everyone of the importance of fairness and integrity